Hi everyone. Uh, so I had very interesting thing to share, and I just wanted to share with everyone out there that how I almost went ahead and bought a flat, and yet I didn't. So that at the end of the day, it is a good thing, but it was a huge learning experience for me, and I wanted to share that with you all. So let's get started. So it had a background story as of let's start with the background story. So the background of the story starts like this. I changed basically I was working in Cognizant earlier, and after that I joined Capgemini on last year on in May, basically in June sorry, in June I joined, and I particularly recall having a very interesting conversation with my parents. What my parents basically said is the amount of impulsive decisions that you take and the kind of discipline, sarcastically they are saying, the kind of discipline that we know that you are having. So basically, I am somebody who is have I who I back then I was having zero financial discipline in me. So what they basically said, and I don't blame them for telling me this. If you are having a responsibility, a, a financial responsibility, then you can curtail your expenses as well as you can go through a learning experience as well. So their point was very simple, but what they suggested me to do to be able to grow that financial responsibility is to go ahead and buy a real estate property in Bangalore. I'm shooting this video in Bangalore where I am staying. Now, uh, the thing what happened is I came to Bangalore from my home on 26th of June last year, and I had my onboarding with my new company on 28th of June, like 2 days back, after 2 days. So basically, I came here. It's not that I had to join from office. I just came for the sake of staying alone. So I came to Bangalore. I joined the new company, and after that, as it happens in each and every service-based organization, I was put into a project, but the process to be able to get raise the access, it takes a lot of a time. So I had a huge free time with me, basically. So the conversation that I had while being back at home, that conversation grew. So basically, now I was also sort of convinced that okay, I know that I'm not financially disciplined and I need something, and I had zero financial knowledge as well. So I knew nothing about mutual funds, I knew nothing about SIPs, I knew nothing about stock markets, anything. I had zero knowledge back then, just like 8 to 9 months back. I'm not saying that I have consumed everything and I'm a huge financial expert on that, but I'm aware, at least I'm aware of what it is, and I do invest, and that is a different story. But let's focus on the story that we are saying right now. So what that we are doing at that point of time, what I was doing is I had a free time with me. In fact, on Monday to Fridays as well, I had no work because I had the accesses were not in place. So what I did, I used to call up real estate developers and used to look out for the whatever new projects are coming in Bangalore. I won't name any, but there were innumerable projects that I visited. So I went. They used to send cabs to pick me up, and they also used to drop me at my place. So I went ahead and saw like the first flat on I think in July last week. That was in Sarjapur, rural Sarjapur basically, not the one that falls under BBMP. So basic, as in BBMP is basically Bengaluru Mahanagara Palike. It is basically Bangalore municipality. So the area that I'm talking about, it's outside the municipality area. It's outside. It's not it's a rural Bangalore basically. So I went ahead. It was a 2 BHK flat. It was costing me. It was a not a very category. It was not a category A builder. It was a. I'm not sure of what category that was in, but it was costing me around 44 lakhs for a 2 BHK flat. And as far as I remember, it was not that big as well. It had hardly like 700 or 900 square feet, something around that ballpark. So but I had a different idea of like what is it that I like and how my first the place that I want that I had in my mind is to, it should have a humongous society with all the as in whatever normally as in how it happens. It was a small, basically I wanted to move into an integrated township sort of a flat, but the one that they were providing, it was not that basically. So I didn't like it, but the location was interesting. I had Azim Premji University located right like 1 or 2 kilometers from the property, and right next to the property, like from my I remember from one particular unit I was, it is basically the boundary of Infosys headquarters, like new headquarters. I hope, as I'm telling this, that it is correct and I'm not being befooled by them. But yeah, I did check it, and in the maps, so it was correct only. It was the Infosys proposed headquarters. Basically, then I didn't like it as such, but I told the location, shared the location with my parents, like the location, shared the location in the sense I told my parents about what the location was, and the location seemed to be fine. Means in thinking about the future, that it is going to be a very a luxurious, not a luxurious location, and as such like prime location. So mind it or not, I had this thought very clear in my head that I won't be staying there. So I am also, I have a red rich dad poor dad, and mm, I know I should not be saying this, but rich dad poor dad kind of convinces you to go ahead and buy a real estate property. And I had also been a victim to that. I had spoken to many real estate lawyers as well after reading that the way it is written. So I won't go into the details. Let's focus on what we are discussing right now. So basically, I went ahead. I saw that flat. I didn't like it, but the location was catchy, but still I didn't go ahead with it. So I came back. I remember in the next weekend I went, no, not in the next weekend, next to the next weekend. It was 15th August, was that on that weekend. So basically, I went ahead to a known builder, a very good builder, and I saw their property. It was a very good, very like it was a very large society. It's a very big. It was a very big project, and I was getting and it fulfilled all the checklists that I had in my mind. It was costing me around 74 lakhs. It was that was what the cost that was coming for a 2 BHK flat, minded. So I had like thought, okay, let's talk it out with my parents. So I shared this set of informations, whatever I had, with my family. My family, after hearing through, and they basically asked me that did you like it or not. I said yes, I did. So they said if you are able to afford it, then you should go ahead and do whatever you feel like. So I had the free hand of making my own decision. So I spoke again with my parents, and what I just wanted to know, what is it that you want me to do, as in what is your decision on this. So they basically said, if you are okay with it, then you should go ahead and buy it, because real estate is never a depreciating asset. It is a good property. Its location is also fine, and it might be costing you more because of that location as well. It is in Kadubisanhalli, like the very next stop to Marathalli is Kadubisanhalli. It's a prime location for people who are not aware of the location in Bangalore. It's a prime location basically. You have Cisco office nearby. You have many offices. Every single office is like reachable from the location, because it was a very prime location back then. But it still is. But let me just continue on the story. So what happened is, I uh, went ahead on Saturday. I saw the flat and I came back and I discussed this with my parents. My parents also kind of convinced me, and I also kind of thought, okay, one I had anyways, I am going to have to buy a flat, so why not to do it from an early age. So I thought, okay, let's go ahead, and I will be going ahead with the decision that I will be buying it. But it was a hard decision for me to be able to come to, because uh, uh, it is a huge investment, right? It's a huge investment. So I calculated the EMI. It was costing me around 50,000 per month, in something around that ballpark. It was going. In fact, yeah, 50,000, around 50,000 EMI it would have costed me per month. So I came back to my place where I stay, and I discussed it with my friends, my family. They, after talking with me, they also knew that I will be going ahead with the next day. But I had the entire night thoughts curling up in my head. What is it that I should be doing? Should I go ahead and buy a flat this early? Because I am, as I said earlier as well, I'm not a financially disciplined person. So I went ahead and thought I will be buying this set of property, so that I can't, even if there is an option to control my expenses, so I should go ahead with this option of, at least in this way I could have an asset associated with it. So what I did on the next day, I went ahead and I took my roommates with me, roommate with me, and my friends with me, and I took the checkbook as well, that I will be going ahead and booking the flat by paying a token amount of 1 lakh rupees. So I remember very specifically the set of incidents that happened after that. I had got a tour of the flat the day before, so I just showed it to my friends. I just showed it to my family, because last day as well I haven't shown it to anybody. So I kind of thought to show that to my parents and my family and my friends. So basically, they had a it was a mixed opinion. My friends were like, if you don't have any issue, if you like it, then you should go ahead and buy it. So it was I remember I reached that particular property at 4:30, and I was still in a dilemma whether to do it or not. And if I'm literally able to not explain what I was going through, but if I'm trying to put words into that, it was uh, an entire tension that was going on in my head, because it was a huge decision, and for a 25-year-old me to be able to do that, I felt that it was tough. I'm not telling the age because of how old or how young I am, but I'm just pointing it out that it, as a personality that I am, to be able to do decide it on my own, it was tough. So what I did, I spoke with a friend of a mutual friend of mine who used to stay nearby. He also suggested that it's a very nice property. Location is also good. You should go ahead. The cost is also like at the ballpark. so you should go ahead. I again spoke to my family. They whether what I should do, because I had the checkbook. I knew that I will be paying, but still I was somehow something was bothering me that whether or not I should do this. So again, uh, I was I got that positivity from them that okay, you should go ahead, take your own decision. But I think it's a wise decision to go ahead and buy because you're not a financially disciplined person. So leaving that part out, what I went through for those 4 hours is a constant to and fro whether or not I should buy it or I should not buy it. But I remember as I'm sitting ahead and talking with you, so the particular person whom I was talking with, who was from the property, who was trying to sell me the property, he was around in his 50s. He looked rich. I hope he's rich. He was wearing gold chains and all. And I was kind of intimidated by that because I am I'm a normal middle class IT guy, and I am able to see that, and there is a guy who's standing next to sitting in front of me who is flamboyant. So I was sort of intimidated by that, but that I didn't. But yeah, but that is not important. What is important is he also kind of because and you know this real estate brokers and dealers, right? So they will convince you that this is इसका भाव ऐसा है, इसका भाव इतना जाएगा, तो you will be able to do that. So it is a fair rate. That is what they were convincing me, and it's a very nice location. What then means by they were constantly pitching as to why I should invest my money in that particular property. Let's say it was 74, so 70 lakhs I needed to invest. Sorry, the down leaving the down payment part aside, I would have taken out a loan of 60 lakhs. So that was the conversation that we were having, and how to finance it. He even there was a bank guy as well who I was speaking with. What I understood from the entire conversation is very normal that how much is the EMI is going to cost me and all. But I remember very specifically, I had two of my friends with me. They were also because they knew that they only associated with me the reason so for the sole reason being that I will be buying that flat. But I was not convinced that I should do that. So I went ahead and my friend asked me to I was negotiating basically with the person sitting in front of me as to you can deduct 1 or 2 lakhs or like 4 lakhs. It's 74 70. It's not something that I can afford. You can make it to 67 65. So he was not willing to do that. Somehow he did for one of the unit that he had. But I remember he even did that. But when my friend asked me to take out the checkbook, because since we were negotiating, and I said that I will be writing it, I will be filling up the check of 1 lakh rupees, and I will be paying it out right up front. But you have to make that 67 lakh price, sorry, 70 lakh price to 68 lakhs or 67 lakhs. I don't remember the exact number, but it was around that ballpark. So he said, okay, I will be, he was ready, and he did that as well. But God saved me, literally saved me. I had a very interesting conversation with my inner head, where I decided and I took up the stand. Not the interesting conversation. Basically, I took up the stand, and to be able to do and trust me when I say to be able to do that in front of your friends, in front of a person who is constantly trying to pitch you to buy that particular property, and to be able to make that correct and in fact when you're convinced that your family is also supporting you in the decision that you have previously taken of buying the flat. I am saying it previously because I didn't ultimately buy it, right? So basically, at that point of time, I just stood up and I said I won't be buying it because, and it was tough for me to say, but I did. And if I means obviously, बात है, अगर if I'm not doing that, then I would have made a fool out of myself only. So I, uh, by sharing this story with you, what I wanted to convey is that fixating all of our income or whatever is it that we make on a one particular asset, as in a real estate, or that it is applicable to real estate only, I think, as of now. If I get anything, I will be sharing it with you guys. But as of now, what I am able to recall is real estate is one of the assets that you're entirely fixating your income on. So I am able to see my entire portfolio is on an asset which is going to give me a return on investment of hardly how much. If we calculate it, I spoke to the residents of that particular place, so it was 25,000 hardly is was the rent that they were paying, 25,000 to 30,000. Now, if you just calculate the EMI, it was costing me 50 for, and I have to upfront pay 15 lakhs. So if you do the ROI of it, and for the sake of calculation, if I'm considering 30,000 to be the rent, it is not even 5%. We can, you can, I can put that on an Excel and I can show, but that's not the point. But if I'm just for the sake of saying, suppose the property of the cost of the particular flat is 1 crore and I'm earning suppose 30,000 from it, I'm making 3.6 lakhs in a year. So how much is the return that getting by investing 1 crore in a year? It's 3.6%. If you invest the same 1 crore rupee, 1 crore money that you have in an FD, after a year, you will be having, if the normal FD rates are how much? 5%. You will be having 5 lakhs if you invest that in a FD and not in real estate. And that is how the situation in India is right now. That real estate market seems to be not good. Mm, It's not. I'm not talking about the real estate market as such. I'm talking about the personal finance side of it. Like whether or not you should fixate your income onto one particular asset, and that asset to be a real estate asset in particular. So you should not be doing that. And the learning that I took from that particular experience that I had is I should I mean, as I'm sharing it with you all, I am so proud of the decision that I made back then, is because I means at that point of time, the thought process that I had is that I didn't wanted to go into a, a, a particular field where my entire income is being limited to that particular asset. But since I was not financially sound back then, as in I'm not sound till now, but whatever understanding that I have, out of that only back then I didn't have any. So what the decision that I made back then is because I was basically limiting my uh, chances of doing an MBA or going abroad, or basically limiting my own self, my own growth. So that was my reason for not doing that. But when I look back at this age, like at this time, like 8 months later, I'm so proud of myself, and for not taking that decision, impulsive decision to buy that flat. And after that also I went, but I had that trauma in my head that once I go and if I get to know that flat is good, I will be going through this entire process again. But fortunately, I am not in the mindset of buying a flat in the next 10 to 15 years. That is a separate video that I will be making on. But as of now, what I can say is the learning experience that I had that I wanted to share with you all is it's really tough to take that stand when everyone else around you is trying to convince you why is that a good decision, why is real estate a good decision, and why you should invest in real estate or not in real estate as well, how you should go ahead and do that because of everyone else around you is saying that. So basically, to be able to stand out from that particular decision, because at the end of the day, it's your hard-earned money. It's not theirs. It's not anybody else's. It's nobody's. It's yours. It's you who is going to suffer at the end of the day. If you're not, it's you whose potential is getting limited to. So my entire message is for all the youngsters out there, or even if for somebody who's in their mid 20s who is about to like thinking about going ahead to buy a flat, is to just to let you know that you will get YouTube content creators telling innumerable stuffs as to why you should not go ahead and buy a flat outright. But this is a very personal experience that I wanted to share with you all. That the entire personal side of it. I know the video is too long, and I know that most of them won't be seeing it because this is the very first video that I'm literally shooting. But if you do, and if you really learn from it, that is the entire intention with what I'm make shooting this video is for you to be able to take that call that why you should not do that based on the personal story that I shared. Thank you. Yeah.